All right. Well, welcome once again. This is the third seminar. As I said, we are currently implementing a project called Revive. And it's a project that it has been going on already now for this is the second year. And we have been experimenting a lot in different sites in Europe. And it has been really exciting because this project is not only about reviving the heritage sites and specific buildings and places that we identified, but it's also about really engaging young people in the process, both from these different partner countries that we are all coming from, but also from the local communities that where we are implementing the project. So it has been quite an exciting journey, and you will hear a little bit about it. I hope you also had a chance to visit our website to learn about the already implemented Revive projects. I will also paste the link here in the chat. And feel free also to write us in the chat if you want to say a little bit where you are connecting from and why you are interested in this topic. We would also like to meet to understand a little bit more about you. And feel free also to ask your questions to our wonderful speakers that we have today. We are here together to learn and exchange and really to improve our own capacities when it comes to reviving cultural heritage, but also having this element of new European Bauhaus principles and sustainability at its core. Before we start, I will give the word to Matteo, who is representing the Association of Historic Arts of Slovenia, who is the coordinator. You need to unmute yourself, Matteo.
Hello. It's now okay? Yes. Thank you, Marina. Dear participants, dear partners of the Project Revive, our young talents, and especially greeting to today's lecturers. Warm greeting to all of you. At today, as Marina said, third capacity building seminar of the Revive project, where the past meets the future. The Project Revive is addressing challenges of declining historic towns and sites and making them sustainable and inclusive living space for future generations, inspired by new European Bauhaus movement, as Marina said, and co-founded through the Creative Europe program. The focus of the project is engagement of young talents with different skills and knowledge, engagement of professionals, and what is very important is engagement of local community and local stakeholders. And in this seminar today, we address engagement between the past and the future, how past inspires young talents in the search for new content and forum for an old church, a culture monument, in the process of transformation of this small church to a new community space. And that is why today with us excellent lecturers, Konstantina Douka from the University Bologna and Africa Rodriguez from Spain. And Africa is also our dear member of the...
Dobar dan, evo, Kelina Cvinkalov, da iz BSC Kranj, da možemo malo, da razgovaramo. Jaz sem dobila vaš kontakt iz Serde, od Sanete. Pa dobro.
Thank you. I'm very sorry for this interrupting, but I think we will be mentioned in the next minute. I wish you all a pleasant afternoon and for all of us a successful seminar and new knowledge. And I give the floor back to Marina Batinic from Culture Hub Croatia, who will lead us during this seminar. Please, Marina. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Matea. Yes, I didn't present myself, sorry. I hope you can hear me well now. Please, if you have any issues in hearing me, write me in the chat. I will try to fix it. I hope it's working well. So, yes, what is going to happen today is really we will get to know a little bit the Revive experiment in Italy. So in the framework of Revive project, we are doing 4 experiments, and before each experiment, we are doing an extensive online preparation work, which includes boot camps for young talents, but also these capacity building seminars, which are open for everyone to join. And this is why today we are here and focusing on the topic of how to create sustainable community spaces, really because this is so important for the site where we are working on, the former church of Santo Spirito in Cellino Attanasio. So before we move on to the speakers, I would give the floor to our dear team from the Italian Association to present us a little bit this upcoming experiment and what they have been also doing on the ground to prepare for the on-site work. So Alessandro, Cristina, Graziano, whoever wants to take the floor, please.
Yes, thank you, Marina, thank you. And first of all, I want to thank all of you for being here to share this inspiring program of the Capacity Building Seminar. I am the project coordinator for the Italian partner, Ithaca, which is the partner that will host the 3rd project experiment, the 3rd live experiment. The site of the experiment is a former church, recently reconverted in a small theater that we plan to reconvert, rehabilitate, and improve in its functions, such as a small exhibition space or a space within which the local community can express their needs, their abilities, and where local communities could meet and to project and to contribute furtherly to the local development. This is the main goal of our experiment. With me today at this seminar, we have also the art director of the experiment, Graziano di Crescenzo, and our local staff, Cristina Cerasi. I kindly please Graziano di Crescenzo to introduce the main features of the cultural and artistic experiment, and Cristina Cerasi to introduce the work done in the field of the engagement of the local communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Alessandro. Marina, can I share my screen?
Of course.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Graziano. I am the art director of the Revive project in Cellino Attanasio. I'm very happy to be part of this project because it's as an important mission, and the team working on the 4 experiment is amazing. So I feel very proud to be part of this experience. Now let's talk about the experiment site. Cellino Attanasio is a beautiful historic little town which a rich past. It has an ancient wall from the late 15th century and many important buildings. For example, we can see the medieval convent of San Francis of Assisi, of course, the church of Santa Maria la Nova, with this a beautiful Gothic portal and a large Baroque wooden altar, a Renaissance funeral monument of a young aristocrat that died in Cellino in 1496. That's just 14 years old. And obviously, the former Church of Santo Spirito, which is the focus of our project. This building is very special. Its facade built in the late 18th century. Century combines neoclassical elements and some unique decoration like terracotta masks that make it such distinctive. Inside, the space is simple, is just a big rectangular hall, but that's this makes it perfect for different activities. Because it's easy to use it because it's empty. And from the beginning of the boot camp, our goal was make it a flexible and multifunctional space, as Alessandro told us. And it's already used for concert, conference, and many little events. But from now to the future, we want to use it even like a co-working space. To do this, the Young Talents team are designing removable and the modular elements so that can use the space, switch in a different way easily. And in the same time, we can fully respect the historical architecture because, as you can see, is a as you can imagine, maybe you can. This is a protected cultural heritage site. Our team is also supported by a co-working expert, an architect, and the local administration, which is the owner of the building. So every decision is carefully planned and follow clear guidelines. So in the end, we know that this project is ambitious. The entire team is working with commitment and passion because we want that the local community to enjoy this renewed public space, a place that must be used and open to everyone. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Graziano. Cristina, do you want to jump in for the final part?
Course. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Cristina Cerasi, and as Alessandro said, I've been responsible for collecting opinions of the citizens of Cellino Attanasio through a participatory questionnaire. As Mattia said before, for us, engagement is very important. And so we try to talk as much as we can with the population to know something more about their ideas. For the development of the former church of Cellino Attanasio, that is called Santo Spirito, the citizens shared with us many ideas, many interesting ideas and opinions, which have supported the young talents' work. The ideas of the citizens have been the soil where young talents' ideas grew up. Most of the citizens express the desire, as Graziano and Alessandro said, to transform the former church that now is used as a concert and a theater in a multi-purpose space. So it is perfectly in line with what Revive Project is trying to do in Cellino Attanasio. The town is small, so a multi-purpose space is perfect to answer to many needs the population has. So, for example, citizens point, the former church should be also during the summer a tourist information point. During all the year, a meeting room, an area for young people, just because the place is small and sometimes young people need a space where to meet, where to play, where to chat, to have fun, to do everything they want. And the citizens, the elder population, also express the need to share skills with young people. So this meeting area, this former church, could be used also to share information, such digital skills from the younger people to the elders, or histories or the stories of Cellino Attanasio, the memory of the community from the elder to the younger people. Also a co-working space, that is an idea that young people really like, a co-working space or a place where to study. And then, of course, to use, as is used also today, the church as a place, as an area for concerts, events, and the theater. So again, we are very happy to say that the citizen needs are in line with the Revive project and in line with the ideas of the young talents. I will not show you all the answers because they are many, so it's very impossible to analyze them clearly in this meeting. But if you want to know everything about what citizens said, told us, you can see on the chat the link of the complete participatory questionnaire with some graphics where you can read all the answers. If you need the translation in English, you just need to push the right button. And in addition to this participatory questionnaire, of course, to have more information, we organized also work tables, work groups with the citizens. We are very happy to say that people were super involved into these working groups. The event we organized in January was very there was a lot of people at the event. We had some doubts at the beginning because it was January, a cold day, but people were very, very happy to participate. So they are waiting, the young talents, and they really want to start this project with them. They are very happy to collaborate. And if you want to know something more about our work in Cellino Attanasio, you can visit our blog. I will put the link in the chat. In the blog, we put every time we do something new about the Revive project, we put some news. So you can find all the description of the event we had with the event I was talking before with the citizens. You can find again the answer to the questionnaire, of course, also the images that Graziano showed you. And if you want to know something more about the story of Cellino Attanasio, you can find something in the blog, but something else also in another link I put on the chat. So if you want to read and know more about our work in Cellino, you have all these links, and now I can quit. If you have some questions, I would be happy to answer.
Great, thank you so much, Cristina. We do have a question here in the chat. How did you spread information about the questionnaire?
We went in Cellino with the population and we talked with them.
So directly
Directly with them, yes, yes. That's sometimes we also shared the link with the younger population, but of course we prefer talking with people, because that's not just answering to questions, it's also to connect with people. If you speak with someone directly, you can learn more about the ideas, about the feelings they have. So we try to stay directly with the questionnaire in front of people.
That's a really nice example of how, when we are doing these things in a smaller communities, people feel really, they appreciate these interventions, and especially when we are bringing people from different places together, they quite get engaged, and I really like doing these experiments in a smaller communities, just because of that. People are really easier to engage than in bigger cities.
Yeah.
Of course, especially for elderly people, as Marta is saying here in the chat, with no access to internet. Did you do door-to-door meetings or local events?
We had meetings and local events. As I said before, we had a work table, but we also organized other events, other meetings with the population in the former church. So we had also the possibility to think about what to do in the church, directly inside the church and directly with the people. Cellino is small, so we don't need to to have a very big amount of answers. So we try to find more answers that we could find. So
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Yes, I think now what we will hear next is an inspiring example from another project. So Konstantina Douka is here with us representing Crafts project, Creating Actionable Futures project, which is another European funded project using the new European Bauhaus principle and experimenting a lot with cities. So Konstantina, I will let you present yourself and talk about the crafts.
Yes, hello everybody. Before sharing my screen, I would like to do a short introduction of myself. I'm Konstantina Douka, and I work in the Department of Architecture in the University of Bologna. I do my research fellowship in New European Bauhaus models, collaborative governance models, and social participation. So actually, it's very interesting that you shared the experience from Cellino Attanasio, because today somehow accept of the project Craft, Creating Actionable Futures, which is another One Horizon Europe project. I will share also the story of Dumbo Space. I don't know for Italians residents if ever heard about it. Maybe some of you have participated recently in a conference by the end of November, which hosted the Creative Hubs Network. And it's interesting to see the differences probably between a co-working space in a small city instead of Dumbo, which is in Bologna and is another metropolitan area. So I will share my screen to start with the presentation, and then I will be at your disposal for any questions that you have. So just a minute. Okay. Can you see my screen? Is it okay? I suppose yes. So this presentation today will focus on how we can integrate new European Bauhaus principles in urban transformation experiments and the lessons learned from Craft, Creating Actionable Futures. Just here some key purposes of the project. The project Creating Actionable Futures is part of the new European Bauhaus initiative of the European Union. And the main scope, one of the main scopes actually, is how we can include the people, the citizens towards climate neutrality, to hear the stories of the urban stakeholders, and as I mentioned before, to test collaborative governance models that they are inspired from sustainability, beauty, and inclusiveness. I will try to synthesize a little bit this slide. We cooperate with the Mission Board on Climate Neutral and Smart Cities and the Net Zero Cities platform. Probably some of you, you already know these initiatives platforms. If not, especially for Net Zero Cities, is a very useful platform in which citizens organizations they can enter and see all the updates about the mission that the Mission Board Smart Cities have. And they can connect also with other experts and people that they are part of this initiative. And the main scope is to support cities in design and deploy climate city contracts. I just do a parenthesis here because Bologna is is one of the first cities in Italy which signed the climate city contracts a couple of years ago, more or less 10 years, let's say, and now it's an insightful paradigm of implementation of the climate city contracts. We will see later how we do that. And excited to see the experience of climate city contracts. It's also we will nominate the craft sandbox cities. They are Bologna, Prague, and Amsterdam, with different characteristics, but also with common points. The projects accept of the craft sandbox cities. It includes another network, the craft reference cities, that by moment are more than 100. It's a continuous update network. The cities can send their candidature, and they exist some criteria, but let's say it's an open network and all the cities are welcome to participate. In the concept of sandbox cities, we are testing and sharing collaborative local governance models in the 3 cities. And the experience of the 3 cities, imagine that they can inspire also the craft cities, but also other cities that are not part now of this kind of networks, let's say. In the context of course, to do all this, to facilitate our work, we need tools. And talking about tools, there exist many, of course. In this perspective, we created a new European Bauhaus-inspired impact model that you will see later how it works exactly. It's a model that includes different sets of indicators to evaluate the quality in urban transformations towards climate neutrality. Of course, except of tools of research, we include the citizens and different target groups. A very important target group for us are the students, because we are also universities as partners in this project. So it's essential for us to include the students. And how we do that with through Think, Do, Tank, STEAM teams activities. STEAM teams, it's for science, technology. It includes different sectors from the scientist one to more anthropological and geographical space studies. So the students are part of this transformation, and we create a storytelling campaign. It's like a narration of the stories of the citizens and the partners, the stakeholders that are part of the project, to express their experience through this project, because it's important to have data and improve our work. Our vision here, you can see in this scheme, climate neutral. instead of sustainability, beauty, and inclusiveness, you can see also climate neutral, beautiful, and inclusive. It's the same, but it's just to say that, yeah, you can meet both of the forms. So the vision is to support more European cities on the path to climate neutrality. Some of the cities, small cities especially, they reached already the decarbonization of the CO2 emissions. So the challenge is to see what it happens with the other cities, especially with metropolitan areas, to improve the air quality, to face the energy poverty and other factors that are challenges for the city by now. Ensure that the new European Bauhaus values are present in everyday life practices through activities, top-down, bottom-up processes. Understand that the citizens, they don't have just a passive role, let's say, but they actually can contribute in this process, and they can co-shape with us, if we can say that we have a position of expertise to co-shape a new future, a more sustainable future. Of course, engage arts and culture, because it's important, if we talk about beauty, how we can do that without the engagement of arts and culture. Be transparent and understand people's needs. By transparency, we mean that as it's not the climate neutrality, to achieve the climate neutrality, it's such a huge goal that includes different layers and steps. So sometimes the process is not linear, and they exist many steps. So it's important to see if we are on the same page. Here we can share the experience from Bologna. Bologna, I mentioned before, that is a sandbox city, but also because of the implementation of climate city contracts, it's also nominated as City as a Commons. What we mean with the City as a Commons approach, City as a Commons, if we know the meaning of commons, is about a collaborative planning that identifies tools and methods to make citizens aware of issues regarding the urban environment. I will add also, we do a focus in urban environment, that's true, but also rural areas face challenges, and it is important to include in this perspective. The City as a Commons in Bologna incorporates several innovative tools like Urban Innovation Plan with living labs. Actually, the municipality of Bologna, with other local stakeholders, the Fondazione Eurosconi Gigi and other important stakeholders, they formed this kind of protocol, let's say. It's not protocol exactly, but this Urban Innovation Plan to include all the essential ingredients, and with the support of living labs, they communicate how we can achieve the climate neutrality in Bologna. And to give more practical sense in this process, they have been implemented in Bologna several examples inspired from tactical urbanism approach to see what it can work well or not and improve. The sandbox term, urban sandboxing, refers to creating temporary, low-cost and adaptable interventions. It seems similar to the tactical urbanism approach that we mentioned in the previous slide. We typically in this concept, as a sandbox city, we test new ideas, designs and policies without the fear of the experimentation. It's not pre-signed, let's say, that everything will work quite well, but we are ready to provide experiments to see, to be creative and see how the things can work better. So the term sandbox is based on the idea of a playground where children are encouraged to experiment and test their ideas without fear of failure. It's a metaphor that is kind interesting and useful in this approach. The urban sandboxing can take many forms, including pop-up parks, temporary bike lanes. We have some small squares close to schoolyards that they look friendly for the children, and they can enjoy with some activities after school. Public art installations. Recently, we had in Bologna the Arte Fiera, so they provided some temporary art installations in this context, and many, many other things. So in the case of the Craft Sandbox City of Bologna, the University of Bologna, together with the municipality and other stakeholders, they try to promote this approach and exchange the experience with the other two sandbox cities that they are different because they have different needs, different morphology, urban morphology. And this is something nice. It is making this more challenging for us. So now, where we test this approach, we test in a specific pilot case. It's Dumbo Space, which in Italian means Distretto Urbano Multifunzionale di Bologna, is a part of the ex-Italian Railways yard. It's such a huge pilot, let's say, with specific challenges and peculiarities. And it's a very important example because Dumbo, it's also a co-working space. Firstly, it has created for this purpose and then started to include more and more activities. And now it's a multifunctional, as the name stands, space. And this is something nice because arts and culture contributed a lot to the urban regeneration of this pilot through murals, graffiti, and engagement of the local artists. It's a place now that beyond the co-working part, many associations, citizens collaborate there, and they promote different activities. As I say here, Dumbo offers the possibility to rent single spaces that correspond to people's needs, and it's in a short distance from the city center, very close to the railway station of Bologna. But I have to say, with not great public transport connections, and we did also questionnaires with people in different public initiatives, and the perception is that Dumbo, even if it's in the center of the city, it is perceived as a place away because of the connection of the transports. And this is an important input for us to provide. Dumbo, here I put a map from Bologna area metropolitana, because it's a part, it is included, let's say, in a huger project, La Via della Conoscenza, which is promoted from the municipality of Bologna and promotes a different vision for the city, a city more friendly for the research, for innovative projects. La Via della Conoscenza in English, it means the street of knowledge, let's say. So Bologna currently calls young people that are qualified to stay in Bologna and invest in the research. So a part of this huge plan includes also Dumbo, and it's important for our work also to take in consideration. This is Dumbo. You can see here the different venues and the different functionalities. They host co-working spaces, exhibitions, events, music events, markets, conferences, whatever you can imagine. During the research on sandbox term, as I mentioned in the first slide, we used and we created and we use the NEP impact model. This is the current vision of NEP impact model, which include the impact categories: environmental performance, healthy living, social and cultural performance, economic performance, and governance. And the other categories are these are the pillars. This is, sorry for that. The other part of the rows are the impact categories, and the external, let's say, I don't know how to nominate it, are the indicators. So we started the research from the environmental performance because it was, and healthy living, because it was easier to quantify the data. And we started to test some indicators in Dumbo. We noted that through the research that some indicators like life cycle assessment, it's not easy to use it in urban scale, but it's easier in building scale. So through the research, we noticed some things that are important. For the other part, societal, cultural, let's say, we noticed that we have to proceed with another approach in order to somehow quantify data, if it's possible. So we asked from people about their perceptions, for instance. It's not impact model. It's not just a model to assess and monitor the process, but it's first of all and mainly a tool to discuss, to introduce to the stakeholders and to the citizens to understand what we do, because usually there is a gap between university research innovation and the rest of the society. And let's say that tools like NEP impact model, they offer the opportunity to to avoid this gap, to make it smaller, let's say. Of course, all the cities are welcome to use this NEP impact model. We started from Amsterdam and Prague with different findings. And each city is welcome to use the indicators based on the needs. So in Bologna, we started from one set, but another city can start with another one. Some of the outcomes of the craft is the storytelling campaign, the STEM team activities with the students, as I mentioned before, the participation in many and different public initiatives, and a new European Bauhaus pocket guide and policy briefs. The storytelling campaign includes the experiences from the students, from us, researchers, and other stakeholders. That it's a kind of testimony of how they saw the project in a couple of months. By the end of April, craft will finish. It's a project that started on May 2022. So all these outcomes and experiences are reported through storytelling campaign. And specifically for the sandbox cities, we will update the stories with the impact stories that they will publish, and will explain all the experience so far till now from the 3 sandbox cities. In the case of Bologna, from the Dumbo space. Here you can see some photos from Dumbo. Some are from the STEM team with the students. We do both 2 editions, sorry. The second one was in December 2024 and the first one in April 2023. Yeah, things that already I mentioned, the multifunctionality of Dumbo, it's very important. These photos, yes, this is material from the second visit a couple of months ago. The students enjoyed a lot this experience because they do a study visit and they saw the space from a different perspective, let's say. And here are some photos from some of the initiatives that we introduced, the NEP impact model. The Assemblea Cittadina per il Clima is an alliance of citizens for the climate neutrality introduced from Municipality of Bologna and Fondazione Eurus Conighigi. And as University of Bologna, we participate in some initiatives of this process. Basically, the citizens together with us, they through different meetings, they created a sort of documentation of a new protocol with proposed actions to be implemented in the context of the climate neutrality. And this documentation, these documents are delivered already last year in the Municipality of Bologna, and now Municipality of Bologna tries to see which kind of interventions could be eventually implemented in the city. And this is, let's say, an experience of how we can engage citizens through participatory processes. Yeah, here I don't want to stand a lot. We have some, I put some information about the NEP pocket guide that we created. Is nominated as Craft Cookbook. By the end of the project, we will have the 3rd edition. It's a volume that introduces practical tools and examples for diverse stakeholders groups on how we can create active collaborative governance models, not only from the 3 sandboxes, but from all the craft cities as well. You can find more if you enter, I can put in the chat some links, so in case you're interested, you can see more. And here are our policy briefs, a new European Bauhaus Alliance manifesto, some events that reported outputs, and our participation these 3 years in the Craft European Week, in the European Week of Regions and Cities, which we talked about the climate city contracts and the Assemblea Cittadina per il Clima. And I finished. I didn't check my time. I hope I'm on time. Thank you.
Yes, very much so. Thank you so much, Konstantina. So we have a question here in the chat. Who manages Dumbo? How and who selects users? Who pays for the actions and experimental furnishing?
Okay, Dumbo, it's an example. It's complicated to explain, but I will try. It's not exactly managed from the private sector. It's under the property of Ferrovie dello Stato, so under the property of Italian Railways. In this case, we have a compromise, if we can say, between the public and the private. So Dumbo is public, but they exist managers from the private sector, which they manage one part of the events, another one the functionality of the space. So they ensure that the space is functional and can have a life, let's say, so people can go there and do activities. So it's an engagement, a concrete engagement between private and public sector, and it's something nice because usually, yeah, we are used from the private sector that do these things, but it's not the case exactly. And the second question, I don't remember, sorry, Marina, if you can repeat.
So how you select the users and who pays for the actions experimental furnishing?
Okay. The users are all the citizens actually, because they started from the cultural sector, because one part is regenerated with the support of artistic cultural associations. But now they exist also managers, they exist also engineers, that they have a studio there. So everyone is welcome to work there for the part of the co-working space. And for the event, it depends from what kind of event. There is, for instance, an agency who is a manager for the concerts, for instance. So they have funding from the festivals, from the music festivals. For other initiatives, they are under of the municipality. So we don't have just one source of funding. There exist many.
Slavka, is that okay? Does it answer your questions?
Yes, thank you very much, Konstantina. Very impressive, yes, and useful for us. Really. Thank you.
Nice, thank you too. I will put there in the chat some links so you can follow.
Does anyone else have questions? Yes. Julia? So, can Konstantina explain better what you mean with the concept of the city as a common? It remembered me the book by Stavros Stavridis, the title "The City as Commons."
Okay, I know the writer, but I don't know the book. So yeah, the City as a Commons. Okay, it starts from a more. It starts from the urban. It's inspired from the urban commons, cultural commons. Nowadays, digital commons as well. So how we can use better the commons in an urban context. Commons are public squares, are parks, are I don't know, the streets, some streets in the city. So they should be accessible to all the citizens, ideally. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but ideally this is the concept. So since Bologna from 2010 and later signed many collaborative pacts between the different sectors in the city, municipalities, stakeholders, citizens, they started to implement small actions in order to ensure that the commons remain commons. And many collaborative pacts they created the concept of city as a commons. So city as a commons, it's an approach that ensures that different parts of the society, let's say, can collaborate together through new collaborative governance models. And this can be happen with specific documentations like the Urban Innovation Plan that I mentioned before, or other protocols. In the case of the climate neutrality that also craft supports, we have the climate city contracts that they pre-exist of the project, of course, but it's another example to explain that the implementation of the climate city contracts in Bologna, they are based on the city as a commons approach. So we have practical examples like the alliances and all the bottom-up processes with documentation protocols. And yeah, I don't know if it was clear. I know that our concepts that probably are a little bit complicated, but if someone wants to go deeper, can contact me, and yeah, I can give more information about these things.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Some questions?
Yeah, can I just ask something now? Helena Zwinkel here from Basatsa Development Agency. No, okay, congratulate you really for this inclusion of the inhabitants into the processes, and for sure there is a little bit of additional question about these commons, because as I understand, you also have the climate pact and everything, and how just the question how you empower the citizens in the way that they follow the climate pact endeavor, especially when we talk about the craft and all the other items and all the other aspects of life. No? Thank you.
Okay. It's not an easy, it's challenging actually to have on the board the citizens, and it's, let's say we have the municipality that is the first player in this thing, together with foundations and the university, of course. So municipality provides some specific tools that are designed for the scope to achieve the climate neutrality. So beyond the climate city contracts, there exist help desk and other platforms that includes practices for the everyday life, let's say. So I don't know, it exists a help desk that helps the citizens with the energy poverty. It exists in some schools. There is a pilot program that is educational program to sensibilize also children, because from early stage, let's say we should start. It's not just the adults. So the municipality includes these things for the citizens, and then through the Assemblea Cittadina per il Clima, this alliance that was concluded last year, had specific dates, appointments, constant appointments. The citizens should go in these appointments and demonstrate what they need. There have been different steps: reporting the needs, reporting the challenges, and then the citizens talk with the experts and co-produce this final deliverable, let's say, with the new ideas for the city. So these some examples. It doesn't mean that always can work, but in Bologna, I'm sure that helps a lot the collaborative spirit of the city, because traditionally Bologna has a long history of governance and collaboration, and is one of the cities of Italy that tries to engage experimental methods. I don't know if it's so easy to do the same things in a city in the southern Italy, or I don't know really. It's something that we can investigate. But yes, I don't know if I try to answer.
Yes, thank you very much. No, thanks, really. Thanks. And for sure, I'm also interested for more information, because I also know Bologna, you're doing a great job. Yeah, thank you.
Great, thank you so much for the question. Does anyone else have anything to ask, Konstantina? Maybe just then to conclude the question that I would like to ask, which is of course related with our project, in the sense of when you are seeing this example of young, okay, I think maybe there is another comment here. Maybe I will do this before I ask mine. So Marta says about engaging local citizens at a time when we see a lot of negativity and skepticism about climate change and lack of knowledge about climate adaptation. Here in Brussels, for instance, the car traffic reduction initiatives have been very polemic and generated a lot of animosity from an important part of the population. How to best engage them? So yes, how do we engage those that are skeptical a little bit, or how do we work towards also giving them the opportunity to participate in a way?
I think it's a question more for a municipality, but I will say that, of course, everywhere we will have critical points. We will have citizens and situations that are not easy at all. I don't know, probably you should, I mean, generally we should understand why. So before, I am urban planner, so I'm sure that everyone has very nice ideas and thoughts. Before provide with implementation of our nice ideas that we felt in love once, we need to understand the needs. So the challenge here is maybe sometimes we lose some steps and we don't report from the early stage the citizens. And another problem is that, I don't know, probably we design a living lab by the first days of a project and the last one by the end of the project, and we lost probably what is happening in the middle. So the citizens, they are not really engaged on this. So we should ensure, I think, the transparency. For this reason I mentioned before in my presentation, this word is very important, because the citizens, if they know the data, your source of data, if know your plan, they feel a little bit more engaged, and probably you can avoid the polemic stuff. Not completely, but a part, yes. Because the city is a place where there exist people with different interests, and always is gonna be like this. But yeah, I think provide these steps could be useful to avoid problematic situations, let's say.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, I think we also learn a lot that it's so much about trust and how we engage people on the ground, and it's a very long-term process. And so when we also are doing these experiments that are very short-term, in the sense that we have a 2-week action in a place, there's a lot of work that needs to be done before and also after in order to really use everything that gets produced within this very short period of time, but then also to kind of continue this work, because a lot of these projects that we are doing in a very short time frame get lost also because there's no one to kind of take over the ownership of the knowledge that came out of it. And then in order to kind of prevent this, the citizens need to really be included from the very early stage to also kind of feel this ownership of these ideas and work that are actually happening on the ground. There is also, yes, Marta is also asking about the problem is a lack of transparency from the local government. I wondered what these other EU-funded initiatives can do to fill that gap.
Be close to the citizens, to the communities, and just combine top-down with bottom-up processes, not only top-down, like I am the expert and I will say what you should do, but co-design. I think a co-design process, co-creative, could help on that direction.
Great, thank you. And so finally, maybe now that you saw also the Cellino Attanasio experiment, and this is small, of course, space compared to the example from Bologna, but what would be your kind of advice to also the local team that is working on the ground, but also our young participants, and some of them are also here with us in the call. What is kind of your, let's say, an advice for both sides in this process?
First of all, I like very much the topic of the co-working spaces, because one part, it has been a part of the research for my PhD, because I studied the brain drain and the digital nomads and the new forms of the spaces and co-working spaces as we see after, especially after the COVID pandemic, grow very much. I think that these spaces generally, okay, they are a part of a new business model, let's say, that they can improve the local economy, and this is something nice and important. But also they can be something more, and I think the experience from Dumbo is important because it's not just the co-working space per se, but it's something different. It includes the community. It's a project by the community, with the community. So I think if more co-working space like the one in Cellino Attanasio and other ones include more activities together with the community, they will have a multifunctional role, and they will give also more voice to the young people, that this is the problem of the Mediterranean cities, especially, that young people, they should go away to find a job or to find a space that they can express themselves. So these spaces, beyond to force the local economy, they can also engage concretely the youth and promote their interest and give a space to express themselves.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I think we are quite on the right track as the local team has done quite a lot of work with the local population and involving also young and older generations in the process. And I really hope that this is going to be quite a nice experience, but then also something that will be further carried forward by the local community as we finish this project, of course, outside of the scope of it as well. So thank you so much, Konstantina. It was really, really inspiring. We are perfectly on time, so it's now 2:40. We have a 10-minute break, and then we will continue with Africa Rodriguez from Spain. She will be joining us from a rural area, so it's a little bit of a different context, but they have been doing an amazing job with engaging community and actually creating spaces for the community itself in a very rural area. So very happy to hear Africa's presentation. So you can stay in the call in 10 minutes. So it's 2:50, we will connect back and welcome Africa in the 10 minutes. So thank you so much for all your questions as well. See you in 10 minutes. All right, I hope you are all back and you were hearing us chatting a little bit here. I think we are ready to continue the seminar. I hope you all can hear us and see us well. I know your cameras are off, but we hope that you are present. I'm very happy to welcome Africa Rodriguez. As Matea said in the beginning, she is also our advisor for Revive Project. We are always happy to really learn a lot from people who are doing amazing things on the ground, such as both Konstantina and Africa today. So Africa, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Marina. It's also a super pleasure for me to be here sharing some of our examples so that maybe you can also use them for your experiment in Italy. And always super happy to be contributing to any project that Marina does, because we are friends for quite a long time now. So I'm super happy to be here again, being part of one of your initiatives. So I'm gonna share my presentation. You can see it, right? Yes, cool. So, well, basically we're here to share about our experience with our NGO that is called Rural Hackers, and also our rural place, which is a Coliving. Now we will talk a little bit about it. It's called Anceu. But first of all, as you can be a little bit sleepy, maybe the first thing is that you meet our new member, which is this small sheep that he was born 2 weeks ago. That was the second day that he is here with us. So, well, we wanted to introduce our little friend because basically we are in a really small, tiny village in the north of Spain. So this is why we have a small sheep. And the name of this place is called Anceu. And it's like 1 hour far from Santiago. Maybe you know this city because of the pilgrimage. And more or less 1 hour far from Portugal. And our village is really, really tiny. We are 100 people. And from there, we are developing a lot of rural initiatives and projects where we can create revitalization of our area. This is why our project is really related also with what Revive is doing, because in a way it's how to bring back life to places that has been abandoned, that are not really being used. And this is what it has been happening in our village for a lot of years. Maybe it also happened in your countries, I guess so, that small villages are being abandoned. So basically we are trying to bring back new life to this small, tiny place. How do we do this? We do this thanks to the Coliving space. Maybe some of you know what is this. If not, then also we can have more open questions about this. Basically, we live in a community. We live in a space for around 15 to 20 people, where we have co-working spaces. We have chill out areas. We have the forest. We have a nice swimming pool, and basically we are surrounded by nature. And also we have internet. So these fiber optics connections allows us to be really connected to the world through this small place. And at the same time, we do our projects thanks to the village per se, the community, the local community. Here, basically, we collaborate with 4 different associations. And I specify this because as you are beginning to try to do a new project in an area that you don't know, one of the main important things is to discover who are these rural influencers that are around the project that you are trying to do. In our case, it's basically the Forest Association, the one that takes care of our forests around the area, also the Water Association and the Neighbor Association. And we do all this also because in addition to the co-living space, we also have a communal house, which is basically a small space for the villagers to meet. And this was an abandoned place also. So thanks to what has been happening through our experience for the last 4 years, this abandoned place has been also used for any other kind of cultural and technological project. You will discover now some of these projects, so maybe this can give you inspiration. So basically, what do we do? This is the communal house that I told you before. This is one of our projects with international people. Basically, we do residency programs for people who wants to come here and do cultural and technological interventions for at least a month. And then also international projects like the one that you are doing right now. And all these people also share their lives with the people who live with us in the co-living. So let's say that we do kind of life sharing projects. And well, basically, today, also before sharing some of the projects, I would like to emphasize some ideas on how to become what we call a rural hacker when you began to do these small and easy projects to create, let's say, the dynamization of an area. Basically, to focus on the budget that you have. Also, you will see today that we are going to show a lot of projects that you don't need a lot of budget. And also because some of this project has been already replicated as an international movement. So you have a lot of resources that are already for free. And also, it's important that you take into consideration the resources that you can get from your stakeholders, like on one side, the Revive project per se, but also maybe in the area where you're going to develop the project, there are already stakeholders that want to contribute with their own material resources. It can be from objects to, I don't know, paint if you're going to do an artistic intervention, whatever. And also today, we will share some projects that are really easy to replicate. A lot of them don't need a lot of money. And basically what you need is your own talents. You are going to be there for 2 weeks at least. So how can you, let's say, use the most of your talents to create and to create a dynamization in the project you're doing? And also, as I told before, I will share some international movements that you can replicate. And in there, you already have a lot of materials on how to develop these projects. And then, of course, you need a space to intervene. If I'm not wrong, you will be doing a project also in the church. So it's amazing that you already have this platform, like a canvas, white canvas, to begin to do things. And also, later on, I will also share this presentation. And in this link, you also have a toolkit on how to begin to develop projects. So in addition to the question that maybe you can have now, if later you have more questions, you can go also through this toolkit that in fact Marina was a participant in the creation of it, one of our projects here. So maybe this can also give you ideas for your projects. In there you will find more operations and logistics aspects, but also creative ones on thinking about the possible idea, things like this, okay? So basically, how do we engage our local community? How do we build these projects taking into consideration what the local community thinks? Well, for us, let's say it has been 4 years already of a project, 5, yeah. And since these 5 years, our most important part is that we can build the trust on the people, on what we are doing, because we are arriving from outside, let's say, as you are going to be outsiders. So how to build the trust at the beginning is one of the most important aspects, so that your project not just create an impact during those 2 weeks, but also that it can be maintained in the future, even though you are not there. So in doing so, main thing, how do we build? We build with our local community. You can see here our people, Olga, Camilo, Rogelio. You see, they are all really old people, because basically our village is, as I told you before, it has been abandoned by youngsters. So these are the people who are promoting things now. So what we are doing is basically we are creating all our projects with them. So I invite you to ask, to discover who are these rural influencers so that they can contribute. They are already really active people. They want to be part, they want to contribute. So we encourage to look for these rural influencers. And of course, in these rural influencers, let's say, there are people who are more doers than others. And if you are going to be doing a project of 2 weeks, it's really important that you take into account these doers, right? And for example, to ask the people around what are the channels of communication with the locals. If you are going to be doing workshops, interactive workshops, what is it better to use the WhatsApp group of the village, to do local events, to do an easy coffee time in the bar of the village? Let's say, where are those people? Where are these rural influencers that we can be in contact with? And also, of course, it's really important to participate in events that are already happening. Maybe, I don't know, in your village, there is already some initiatives happening in this project. So to take part in them so that the people can feel that you are also worried about what is happening already in the place that you are going to be intervening. And for us, something that is really important is to really understand that you are going to be doing a project of 2 weeks. So maybe the result is not going to be incredible per se. Okay, the important thing during this phase is to build the trust. And while you build the trust, it's a slow cooking process. So it's more important what happens in between, let's say, in between the people during this process than per se the result. Let's say that it's going to be a short time, and also the people are not still trusting on what you do. So it's better if the people begin to build these bonds instead of going to the perfect piece of art, to the perfect intervention, okay? That maybe the people don't feel so welcome to be part of. So this slow cooking process is much better to understand it since the beginning as it is. Let's say, this is not going to be the piece of art that is going to go to the most important museum in the world, but maybe you are going to be transforming the village through this initiative thanks to creating this trustful environment. Okay, so some examples of ideas that we did, and they work really nicely. For example, when we arrived there, when we arrived for the first time into the Casa do Povo, is this communal house of the village. We didn't arrive there and we began to do just things. First, what we did, we organized a hot chocolate session where the people could share ideas on what they would like this place to be, what kind of activities they would like to be developing, what kind of environment, what channels of communications they would like to be using. Let's say, to discover through them what will be the future of this abandoned building. So let's say, how much money did we use? Basically, the money for the hot chocolate and some pieces of paper, because we do, kind of like non-formal education dynamic, that it was at the same time fun, which is really important at the beginning. If the people have fun, the people eat something and enjoy, it's a good way to create bonds easily and to, let's say, use a language that everybody is going to be understanding. If we go through different to really difficult initiatives that maybe are not being understood by all the public, we are going to create boundaries. So everybody knows about hot chocolate and everybody knows about ideas of what do you want to be doing in this space. Nothing is good, nothing is wrong. Okay, so maybe this can be the beginning of your project. Other thing that we do, you see here Marina with us. Basically, this Pegadas do Recordo is a project that is really related to the invisible heritage of our village. Basically, when we arrived here, we began to discover a lot of stories that we didn't know because we were not born here, and some of these stories are going to disappear because basically the people, as I told you, is really old. So you can see in this picture, this guy with the cap, his name is Rogelio. He's 80-year-old, is one of these rural influencers. He is helping in all of our projects, and he began to share with us some interesting stories. For example, where they used to play football when they were kids. or for example, some lost paths that now has been recovered thanks to him. So also the stories of an abandoned village that was here before we arrived, and now it has been abandoned. So all these stories, if Rogelio dies, they are going to disappear. So through this project, what we did was recording these neighbors, telling these stories. We did really easy videos with the mobile, nothing complicated. We didn't hire, like video professionals or no, nothing like that. With a normal telephone, and we record their conversations telling us about these beautiful stories. And then we created the signals with pieces of wood. This is the signal, this green signal here down, and we put these signals in the forest, in the paths where the people used to now is going through the hikes, because they want to show what is in these videos and they want to discover the stories behind the path. So this project that was really amazing for us, because it creates also the bonds in between the people. Now they are calling us to tell us, hey, we need to record more videos. There is this story and this story and this story. So again, you are not going to invest a lot of money. And then maybe you can do at the end an exhibition about the project in the church. I don't know. It's easy and fun. And also we want to spread this project so that other people can replicate it and do the same thing in their villages. And then also, this is, I don't know if you know, this project is called Inside Out. This is what I told you before, these international movements of artistic, let's say, platforms to create change. There is a French photographer, he's called JR, and he began to do this project, especially in places of war. So he began to do portraits of the people of the village to bring awareness about the specific topics. He went all over war situations, and he did these portraits, and then he printed them, and they stick them in important places in villages and cities. And so now what you can do also, you can do the portraits of the people, and then you send these portraits. You can do them again, you just need a mobile. You can do the portraits and send them to this international project, and then they send you for free these huge posters that you can see in the pictures for free. We did this project because we wanted to bring awareness about the local people who were doing nice stuff here in our rural area. What we call the people who are, we wanted to honor these people who are really helping to revitalize our area. And we did 80 portraits, and the people from this organization send us all for free. And then basically we use the money to, we just needed money to buy the glue and this big brush that you can see there. That's all we needed, and it was amazing. Then we stick them all around the market of the village in Ponte Caldelas and also here in the Coliving. And it was an amazing way to create bonds with the people because we are honoring them through these big portraits. And also we did collaborative murals. Basically, we bring an artist with whom we did a collaboration, but maybe in your group there are already artists, and they created a specific pieces of art related also with the heritage and with the story of the village. And then for the painting, it was a collaborative painting process. Basically, the artist, as we were kids, they basically indicate you have to paint here in green, here in white, here in blue. Everybody joined to paint, and then we celebrate with food after finishing the mural. And these murals, we painted them in more or less one weekend. So again, what do you need? Painting. Maybe you don't have money for the painting, but maybe you can talk to a stakeholder that is interested in this happening in the area, or to the local government to pay this paint, right? So it has been the first thing we did to engage the community. And since then, we have already painted 4 different murals. So maybe this can be something that you can be doing. It can be not just in walls. Also, we have been doing in a wood platform, for example, that maybe you can get upcycling material from a company on wood or something like this. This is just open ideas that can bring to your project also some perspective. And also For sure, I don't know in your countries, but gastronomy is the best way to join people. So maybe during these 2 weeks that we are going to be doing interventions, you could do an international event about international gastronomy. We call them entre culturas, is something like between cultures, in between cultures. And basically, you have there in that picture people from all over the world from the Coliving. And what we do is that every person cooks something from their country, and then we bring it to the communal house of the village, and we share them all also with the villagers that they do the same thing. And how much money are you gonna be using in there? Okay, maybe 10 euros per person to produce one piece of food, and then you share. We put the flags about every country and the names of these products, and it's just amazing. And it's an incredible way to create bonds in between the people. Also, in this communal house, we propose also that one of our colleagues, Victor, that after that he settled in the village. So now we have this youngster who decided to move to our village, and basically what he did, it was a project so that for a month he was opening the communal house, as if you decide, for example, to open the church, to organize activities during the weekends. Activities super open, like tech, teaching tech to the older people, providing English classes, also activities for the kids. But he's not an expert in all this. He has just his knowledge, like as I can know how to use a mobile, or maybe I can use Canva from time to time, so I can show and I can teach people. I don't need to be an expert. So maybe this is another project. You don't need the money. You need the talents that you have in your group, and maybe you have 2 weeks of activities, right? And then also we did this, which is also, it doesn't imply money. Basically, we have Lavi from Romania. He came with us for a month, and she was working with Loreto, who is a villager from here, from the village. And they were basically going through all the houses to bring all pictures from the history of the village. Again, you don't spend money. You just need your time to go to every house and have material of the past. And with all this material, they created a super amazing exhibition. And this exhibition took place also in the communal house. As I told you before, you don't need money to create all this. Maybe to print the pictures, but that is all you need, right? And then also, this is a super nice piece of art. Another artist did it for a month. Basically, this artist, Lotte from Belgium, she uses upcycling material in everything she does. So all you can see here is textile from other pieces of clothes. Basically, she was going through the houses to ask for material, and then she did a piece of art representing our village. And instead of she was doing all the process, she organized a workshop open to everybody in the village. And you can see there is the small pieces of material. So she was telling the people here in green, here in blue, but it was the people, the one interacting together, to create this piece of art. And she did this in 2 weekends, and she did workshops of 3 hours more or less in each of them, and it was people of all the village coming to contribute in the project. And then also, this was really interesting. This was coming from Belgium. Basically, she took she had interviews with people in the village about our traditions, about our history, about our flora and ecosystem and the forest. And basically, with all this information, she created pieces of art that now they are in the middle of the forest. Again, with the other materials from Pegadas do Recordo. And then after that, she recorded both in English and also in Galician, which is our co-official language here. And you can also listen to a small podcast about what is the topic inside of this piece of art. So again, you don't need that much money, because here basically you would need the paint, and then this person, maybe the artist, is in your already in your group. And for the translations, and we also invite people from the Coliving and people from the village to do this part. And also we did in this communal house our what we call our feminist space. Basically, we were working with the women of the village, because maybe this also, I'm sure it happens in your countries, that also in rural areas there is still a lot of things to fight against in this machist world in a way. So we wanted to embrace the possibility of creating our feminist space. And how did we work on this? Basically, we did small groups during one weekend with women of the village and one representative of our also international program. These were women from different countries in Europe, and they came here for a month, and we did this project in 2 weeks with them. So basically, in these interviews, they got information about how were they feeling about the feminism, the village, what it was for them with women empowerment. And through this information, they created together the Feminist Manifesto. Again, you don't need a lot of money to do this. You just need the time to spend with the people to get the information. And then we did a huge poster with all the manifesto. And to finish also with the project, in the second edition, we created also a collaborative painting inside of the communal house. And then also talking about international movements, I don't know if you know what is Repair Café. Repair Café is an initiative, international one, where the people basically meet to fix things from, I don't know, from an oven to a toaster. So, but they are not professionals per se. They are people who likes to do stuff with their hands, right? Or they can sew stuff, things like this. So basically, we open the house once a month to do this activity. Again, it's easy. You just need your skills that I'm sure if you begin to realize the skills that you have as a team who is going to do the intervention, you will get a lot of these kind of initiatives that don't need a lot of money. And also in our Coliving, we also did this project of murals, but basically it's focused on women, and every room in the Coliving is decorated with a piece of art of one of the artists who came to the Coliving. And then also, this is really interesting, I think, also for your project, is also an international movement. It's called Before I Die, from an Australian artist. And basically, she created this project because she saw a lot of abandoned buildings in big cities that were used for nothing. So she decided to create this platform and also this project, where basically the idea is that you can paint an abandoned wall with chalk paint, and then the people can write what they would like to do before they die. So in this international movement, you can go to the web. There is there the toolkit on how to do this, how to implement the project, the different phases, also even the logo, how to make it public. And we did it once in the co-working. Instead of painting directly in the wall, we just use a piece of material and then we hang it. And then the people was the one coming and writing the reflections about what they wanted to do before they die. And again, do you need a lot of things to do this? Do you need a lot of money? I don't think so. You just need this activism that really brings you the energy to make transformative projects in the experiment that you are going to be doing. Or also, again, this is super interesting project. Maybe you already know, maybe you already talk about it, but it's something really easy that you can develop in the church. It's called Human Library. Basically, it's an international movement when, again, you can get also the toolkit on how to do it, and basically sharing stories on specific topics. It's called Human Library because basically the books are the people who come and share their life in small groups so they can bring awareness about the specific topic. For example, we did one about the refugee crisis. We did one about entrepreneurship, women entrepreneurship. So it can be about all different kind of topics, and it brings the people together. And as it is in small groups, let's say the people go reading book by book, people by people, in small groups where you can also feel comfortable to do open questions. So I really encourage you to do this project that can be really reinforcing a lot the bonds in the community, and it's something that, again, they can replicate later when you are not there. And well, maybe this is more techie part. If you are interested, then also we can elaborate. But basically, it's called Do Action Hackathons. We do it with WordPress Foundation because we are really focused on technology. And basically, we developed during one weekend a website for an NGO or an entity in the area. So maybe this can also be helping to a project, an artistic project, a heritage project there, things like this. But maybe it's a little bit far from the project. But well, I just leave it there just in case it can give you inspiration. And also as this one, a Global Survey Jam is also an international movement. It's focused on design thinking, and it happens 3 times a year. Everybody can join and be involved. Why do I put it also here? Because maybe at the same time that we are doing the experiment, there is also this event happening. It's happening for 1 weekend, and maybe it can be another initiative, easy to develop and easy to do in between the community. And well, basically, I'll also share here our web from the NGO and also from the Coliving, because basically my idea after sharing all these experiences is that if you maybe have doubts on how you do the project during those 2 weeks, don't be ashamed about writing us. We can have another call if you need ideas, if maybe you want feedback, or if you want to, maybe you feel a little bit overwhelmed about how to do this kind of small initiatives, and I'm sure we can help, we can contribute on this. And yeah, maybe of course, who knows, that maybe you can come here to inspire us in future projects. Maybe follow us. I always use the expression follow us in real life, because I think what you are doing is amazing. I think we need more experimenting real life, doing real life projects, doing more activism through this kind of experimentation, because this will bring on one side opportunities for you, but maybe also the possibility of transforming a place and giving new life to it. So thank you so much. Now I think we have open conversation also for questions that maybe you may have. So just let me know, maybe about a specific project to go more in depth or things like this. So I'm open to hear your thoughts.
Thank you so much, Africa. This was really great to see so many different inspiring smaller scale initiatives. As you say, no need to always wait for the money or the budgets to arrive. It's sometimes you can start even before you get any type of funding. So this is really great. So we have some questions here in the chat. How did you attract all these artists in the village? Were they already living there? How big is Anceu? How many inhabitants? And how did you attract the international participants of your international food event?
Mm-hmm. Okay, basically regarding our international artists, we usually do open calls on social media, but it's true that also through our network is one of the main ways we do it, because I didn't have the time to share it, but one of our main objectives also is how to be connected from a rural space to the world. So we are part of a lot of international communities. This is why Marina and I, we get in contact through what is called European Creative Arts Network. Maybe you already talk about this in the project, but I really recommend you also to follow them, because also sometimes there are also open calls for people who are not part of the member of the network per se, and it helps us a lot to bring us new opportunities, new artists, and yeah, we share with our members of the network our calls and our projects, and yeah, they propose also profiles and interesting people to do so. And in addition to European Creative Arts Network, also we are applying for European projects, specifically through Culture Moves Europe program. Now we bring 5 artists. Basically, you can also go into this website, and in Culture Moves Europe, you as an artist on one side, you can apply to go to one of these residency programs. It can be one of ours because we are host of this program. So when the artists come, it's true that if they come to the Culture Moves Europe, then they have here all the accommodation, and also they have money to develop their own project, their professional project here. And so it's an opportunity for them to be working and creating also new networks with us. And yeah, let's say another artist being another artist, which is also the word of mouth, who works a lot. And also we are part of another international network. It's called Reset. This is really, really like we are members in just a couple of months ago. So they also share our calls when we are looking for new artists. And what more networks? Let's say. Yeah, I would say word of mouth is one of our main things and our main topics. Also, we travel to a lot of crafts around Europe. Of course, we visited Marina in Split, but thanks to this, it's also an opportunity to share what we do and to participate because as in this project as you are participating, I participated in a lot of them, and it was the most important way of really bringing more interesting people to my life. And also related to how big is the village, 100 people. So basically we have 100 people, 100 let's say houses. We are 200 houses more or less, and then there is 80,000 people town, half an hour from here. So it's not like we are super far from everything, let's say, but yeah, we live in the surrounded by forest, which is amazing. Yeah. More questions?
Yes, there's a big one here from Amalia. Maybe you can read and take one by one. There are several questions.
Okay, your energy is contagious. Oh, thank you. How big is your team? Is it a constant nucleus to which other people attach periodically? Okay, we have a team. Let's say we have a creative team on one side that, well, no, I think we have a hybrid talents. All our team is full of hybrid talents that I also encourage to become a hybrid talent, that basically you can do something creative, but you can do something super operational, that you can be executing like hands-on project. So we have, let's say we're not experts per se in something concrete. But it's true that the combination of the elements of each of us helps. We have a strong, like more settled team here of 3 people. Let's say it's Agustin, Nacho, and me on this part of writing new projects, creating new ideas, being the connection with the village, proposing these new projects. Then we have 2 people who are, let's say, more on the operational part, but at the same time, they are really connectors with the village, what we call the rural influencers, which is Rosabel and Se. And then also we have international community that basically, thanks to the Coliving, they began to come the first year, and now they come all the time. So even though they are not living here for all the year, every time they come, they participate in all the projects a lot, and they prepare and they begin new projects. And it's true that 3 of these people that were Colivers, now they settle in the village, which is the amazing thing, because this is the way that now we can keep on transforming. If you have a team that is small, you can do this ranch of things. If it's bigger, then these people will begin to do new projects. For example, one of these people, Anna, she also got the business of a small cultural center here, and now she's the one developing also cultural initiatives related to literature in this communal house. So let's say she's helping to continue the initiatives that we already begin. So, well, it helps a lot, but we are always open to bring more people and to experiment. And then we always have also volunteer program also. And then this year, we also have technological residencies for people who wants to learn on WordPress. And for people, and these people, they get the co-living and the accommodation, and also the like food and pocket money, and they can come for a month. The calls are not yet open, but as soon as I have it, also I can share them with Marina, and maybe you can also see these options and possibilities. Then how do you sustain your activities, and especially the financing of the people of the team? Okay, yeah, basically we get European funding, and then also we have private funding from technological companies mostly. And again, this technological funding from companies also came by going to events, meeting people, creating these networks, I would say offline networks, even though they are technological companies, is the way of how you build the trust, how they trust on what you do. And in doing so, we have SiteGround, which is a host company focused on hostings, and then Automatic, that they are focused on creating websites, and then 11 Yellow, more software developer. And then regarding public funds, is basically Erasmus Plus, Culture Moves Europe, and this year we also are in Creative Europe. And that is all, if I'm not wrong. Yes, that is all. But also in the new web, you will find also all this material, because we are changing and we are putting also this information for other people to use. One more here. In order for this to be a long-term work, their life needs to be sustainable. Okay. Yes, of course, as you said, like totally. On one side, this is why for us, it's really important that the people that comes here as artists, they got the funding. So through Culture Moves Europe, they got the funding to do that intervention, but at the same time, the people can do their job, because it's not like a month of just doing the artistic project, nothing like that. So they are also developing their job, but yeah, mostly they work online. And then also what we do is also the Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs, that I forgot this part. I don't know if you know this program, which is amazing, especially for people who are beginning to develop entrepreneurial project. And so we have people who comes here from 1 to 6 months, and they got 800 euros a month. They are developing at the same time their job, but they got this funding also to be here with us, developing projects, initiatives, new proposals, and to test also things. So maybe this is another program to take into consideration if you don't know. Is Victor the only one that lives in the village constantly, and do you think that this connection is necessary? I believe it is. Okay, basically it was 2 people who moved, Victor and Anna, and then we have a couple that they met here and they bought the piece of land, and they are beginning with the creation, with building the house. So basically, I think that you need kind of, this is why I really focus a lot on the rural influencer. I think it's really important that you focus a lot on finding these rural influencers of your village, because you're doing this 2-week intervention, but if you want to make it longer, you need those people to continue. And sometimes what the people, these doers, need is just, the first impulse to do. And then they realize that it's not that difficult, especially some of these projects that I share, and they can continue. So this is why I think it's really important to find these people. And this doesn't happen so easily, that the people settle in a place. So they really need, at the same time, these rural influencers around to decide to settle. Let's say it's all a circle that is joined, right? Everything is connected. Maybe if the rural influencers, or maybe if we are not here, maybe they don't decide to settle in here. So I think also the community sense in a rural area is much more connected than in a city per se, let's say. And then, do you think that the villagers can take your place at some time, and then you move to another place? Interesting question. Well, I don't know. For now, I think I live in our beloved paradise, so I don't see myself in another village. It's true that sometimes some people tell us about this. Also, Agustin, who is the founder of the Coliving, he thinks about this also as, why not? Maybe then we can move to another village and do the same thing. Well, I guess also it depends on your personality. I like to change a lot. But it's also true that since I'm here, since the last 5 years, I feel a lot these bonds on the nature and on this place. So maybe I changed the way we do the things. Maybe now it's through Coliving, maybe now it's through this residency program, but maybe in 10 years it's through another kind of things, but in the same forest, because this is too much. It's like super special. So maybe it's another thing, but in the same place. I don't know. Who knows? Okay, more questions here. Okay. Sorry, I saw some. Okay, here, yeah. First of all, thank you so much. Okay, what are some of the lessons learned? So some initiatives that you tried that didn't work, but that were useful in replanning. super interesting. Well, one thing that I would propose, especially for long term, is that you focus on things that you are really motivated about. What I have seen sometimes is that because, let's say, of this, just because it's working, we continue doing the same thing. And maybe you are not motivated to keep on doing it. And especially if it's related to activism and it's related to a lot of those initiatives that you see, we do them with no money involved at all, and we do them because we are passionate about. And maybe if in 2-3 months your passion is smaller, I think it's better to change to another thing, because if not, let's say it's like the transformation is not going to be authentic. So maybe even the way you are going to be doing and the connection and the bonds you are going to be creating with the community are not going to be that real. And let's say that at some point the people are going to feel that, you're going to feel that. So I think it's better to stop it when you are in the high level of, hey, it has been amazing, let's change to something different. So I would say that is important. And then also relating to, of course, the commitment of the people. I think it's important that you really have like 2, 3, 4 people that are really committed, because in the way you're going to find a lot of people that they began with a super high energy and then it goes super down. So you need to really have these 2, 3 people that are going to be there committed to what you do. Because these people that are super high and then super low, it's going to happen for sure. And then you're going to be frustrated a bit. But again, if you have this high energy team, it's going to be easier for you to go to the next step. And then I saw an initiative that Italy once took for abandoned cities, where they sold houses for a very low price on the condition they get restored within 3 years. I don't know what the state of this initiative is, but what do you believe are necessary steps for these projects to be successful on the long term? Okay, one thing I would say is the local involvement also at a governmental level, let's say. For example, in our case, we are really happy because our local government are really open to help and contribute. But imagine, and we also know it for experience, that if there are local governments that maybe they are not that open to this kind of projects, it can be also a constraint and it can be difficult to give the next step. So I always recommend to the people, before beginning a project like that or before beginning a Coliving, is a recommendation that we didn't do, but I would recommend, which is, first of all, understand all the context from the governmental perspective to the social perspective. Let's say, go to a local government, see how open they are with the idea of open these kind of spaces, how they interact with bringing international people, that also it can be a constraint to some people. Then going also to these local initiatives, associations, and blah, 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 to find these rural influencers, because you need this neighbor support. If it's going to be also a constraint, or if you cannot find at the beginning these rural influencers, it's going to be more difficult. And also we've seen that we have people that's like, come on, it's been years and they still don't participate in anything. So I think it's important to analyze that part for sure. And then I would say, these regional connections that you can build, even though you are in a small village, how every month you dedicate some of your time to build also your international network, because it can make it flourish much more faster since the beginning than if you just begin to do this international network after 1 year of project. I would recommend you do it since the beginning. Create since the beginning with those international networks, because they will bring you inspiration that you need. You need to have your energy really high, because of course then when the project is settled and then it's established, let's say your relationship with your own energy is going to be different. So at first time you need this super top high level energy, and for that the more network you have, the better. How did you get the info about all this EU funding? How was this initiative born? Okay, well, this information about the EU funding, let's say, well, before beginning with the Coliving, I opened my co-working space in this town that I told you, 80,000 people. It's called Pontevedra. So it's been 10 years that I've been the founder of a co-working space. So it's been 10 years that I've been doing all the things that I've been telling you about creating networks, building networks, going to events, going to international projects, finding here and there, looking in internet, what is here, what is in there. And then you realize that there are so much things and opportunities that we don't know. Like the fact that you are here in this Revive project is, for me, is an example. You could be doing other stuff, or doing nothing. And you are here listening to projects, listening to ideas. Maybe after this conversation, there are 3 links that you go and you say, come on, this exists. And I didn't know. It's incredible. I remember when I was 20 years old, I was at the university and I saw Erasmus Plus project of 10 days like this, proposing a project to go to Macedonia for free, with this Erasmus Plus. And I found it because I was really curious all the time. But I couldn't believe that that was true, that, okay, but there is something that I can go for free to a European country and do a project. And then I didn't go because I was afraid. I was like, no, this has to be a scam. And then 5 years later, thanks to a friend, send the people from Send the Coliving, which is the oldest Coliving in Europe, is here in our region, 1 hour from here. And they told me, yeah, it's totally true. This exists. And I said, oh my God. So again, trust. You need to trust the source that are giving you this information. So for that, you need to build the network, to build the trust, and then understand, oh, this exists. So in any case, you are interested in any of these funds or any of these projects, like, I don't know, Erasmus for Entrepreneurs or the Culture Moves, things like this, you just write us an email and we can help you. We can put you in contact with the person. Maybe you want to come to Spain with this Erasmus. So we have the person who is super effective in that. So this is the way how Revive help. It's not just about the intervention that you do per se in the places, but also it's the network that you can create that can bring you the next opportunity. This is why I told you it's not about the project that you're going to be doing during 2 weeks in the place. It's about what you get from that experience per se. It doesn't matter if it's the best piece of art. And then, I don't know, more things. Can you have your... Oh, yeah, for sure. We will share all this information with Marina. And maybe the last question, how was this initiative? I think it is. I don't know, Marina, if I have time, because...
we still have time. No worries.
Okay. So how was this initiative born? I'm going to tell you the part of the founder per se, which is Agustin, my husband. We got married this year. Oh, yes. So basically, we met each other 1 month before he opened the Coliving space. And basically, he was a digital nomad, what is called now, everybody talks about this digital nomading thing. Basically, he was working and traveling, and he understood the loneliness that also this kind of worker can have. And he said, why don't we do a place where the people can come together, they can contribute to the revitalization of an area, and we can do it from our region, which is here, Galicia. So this is why he decided to do this project. And then we met just 1 month before, and I brought also this perspective of how, building from networks and how to developing projects in addition to the co-living could bring also the possibilities of helping to the revitalization of the rural area. And this is why we created the Rural Hackers NGO, because some of the projects are developed from the social impact perspective, all of it. So through the NGO is much more easier for us to be involved in all these projects. And thanks also to him, he also brought an international network related to tech, because he works in tech. And as I told you before, it's more this hybrid talent thing, that all the people that is surrounding us is bringing new things that can create the puzzle, let's say, right? So then the place per se was already open. It was already ready to be open, because it was kind of a rural hotel, also a restaurant. So we didn't have to do that much restoration of the place. But also another idea and recommendation from my side is that to begin with a small prototype. So basically in our co-living, we began with everything really as a prototype. The rooms were not super cute. The rooms were not super perfect. not everything was super thought. We basically began, we improve, and we are improving all the time. This is why we are called rural hackers. We like this part of the hacking philosophy of just try a small thing. If it works, then you can make it better, and just get rid of this perfectionism that is just stopping us on doing things. So this is how rural hackers is made of. This is how the Coliving is made of. This is why we never do the things perfect at all. We never do the things super nice in terms of everything super well organized, coordinated, blah blah blah. No, we do a lot of mistakes and we learn from them, and and this is the moment where we realize what we like and what we don't like. So yeah, this is all from my side. Just inviting you to write us whatever you need. More than welcome to contribute.
Thank you, Africa. This is super interesting and also, of course, very much useful for the experiment that is going to happen. The local team in Italy, we heard a little bit in the beginning of the seminar, they did a really great job with already engaging the community. So the community is ready and they are very motivated and open to receive these young talents. So I think that work has already been done in a really great way. And as you said, many smaller things can be done anyway and without much resources. But what is important later is that we secure those who are going to carry on, right, the project and the ideas, because that's the really important part, to make it all sustainable and then to keep growing outside of these limited times of the project. And in that sense, I think the way you work with the local community is really about this trust and the time. Like, sometimes I think we are always so rushed and we always want to see results overnight, but it takes patience. And I think it's something that we also need to transfer a little bit to these young people who are coming, because it's really, we need to be patient these days, and things take time. As you said, you've been in this for 10 years, and of course now you are seeing these results, but it's been 10 years. And I think everyone needs to kind of have that perspective as well when we are doing these experiments. So thank you very much for sharing your experience, and thank you all of you for your amazing questions. You have been great audience as well, even though we don't see your faces. It's okay. I think, yeah, I don't know if anyone else wants to say anything before we conclude. I just have a couple of things to say before we wrap up. But I will give you a chance still to say anything. It doesn't need to be a question.
Yes.
It can also be, yeah.
Maybe Marina, just to say thank you to excellent lecturers today, and thank you to you, Marina, for leading us during this 2 hours and a half, and all the participants to be with us in this afternoon. So we will see on the next capacity building in 2 months. So thank you to all of you, and goodbye.
So before we say goodbye completely, I just have a couple of things to say. So we are now, we will ask you for a short evaluation of this seminar. I've just put the link here in the chat. It's really important to get feedback because, of course, it's a European project and we want to improve what we do. So please take just a minute of your time and click on this link and give us your feedback. I will also send you all a follow-up email with also the recording and presentations. And we would like to invite you for the next capacity building seminar, which will take place exactly in March, so on the 17th of March. We will also, of course, share all of this information on our social media of Revive Historic Towns project and the website. So please follow everything that we are doing, because if you are also curious to see what is going to happen in the experiment in Italy, we will be sharing also the news there and all the materials and everything that has been produced. So I hope that you will continue following us as a project, and also beyond that, in case that today you found this presentations and our project inspiring, please do reach out. We are always open to new collaborations and starting new things with people who are interested in these topics and who are doing great things elsewhere in Europe, all over the place where you connected today. So thank you so much again for your attention. Thank you to the speakers, Konstantina and Africa. You have been really amazing, and I think we learned a lot from you today. And I really hope that we will stay in touch and that you will also follow what we are doing. So your contributions were really precious. I think that's it also from my side now. We will, as I said, I will send you a follow-up email, so you will also have the contact. Yeah, I think we can conclude 10 minutes before the time. I don't know if anyone wants to say anything. Otherwise, we can say bye. Thank you so much, and have a really good evening.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.